Hey, everybody. I'm going to give you the best possible review you could get. So if you watch this, you'll know exactly what to expect on the PC to do this weekend. And the timing is up to you. You just need to take it the once. You only get one opportunity. You can retake it later, but right now I'm only giving you one opportunity. And here we go. So this is exactly what the PC will look like opening on Thursday. So the first thing you want to do is you definitely want to have a calculator. Whether it be on the screen, whether it be in front of you, however it works best for you. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at the first section. Look, here I have negative 13 over 2. Well, because I know the irrational numbers can always be written as fractions, I know that this has to be rational. The next one says the square root of 162. So I'm just going to go ahead and plug it into my calculator. 162 square root. Oh, look at that. It's some crazy number that is not a whole number. It's a non-repeating, non-terminating decimal. Therefore, this is an irrational number. Next one, anything that has pi in it is 13 times pi is going to be an irrational number because pi itself is irrational. Next one says square root of 128. So same thing. I'm going to use my calculator. 128 square root. Look, non-repeating, non-terminating decimal becomes an irrational number. The next one says the square root of 400. Well, I don't know remember what the square root of 400 is, so I'm going to go ahead and plug it into my calculator. And look, I see that it's a whole number. So this becomes a rational number because it's a terminating decimal. And why do I say it's a terminating decimal? Because it terminates after the decimal point. So 20.0 is a terminating decimal. Therefore, it's a terminating decimal. Whole numbers are always terminating decimals. So now select the appropriate sign. It says the square root of 81 and 9. So I'm going to go ahead and plug in square root of 81, which is 9. So 9 equals 9. So all I have to do is say, oh, those are equal. Make sure you follow, if you get a decimal, make sure you follow the decimals as far as you need to go till you find out whether one is bigger than the other. Okay, the next one, it's just said, put a dot on the line where this irrational number is, 8.78. That's really how I need to look at it, is the first two numbers after the decimal. So I'm going to go ahead and say, okay, that means it's after the 8, but before the 9. Kind of put it in the good general area. I'll be checking these because sometimes they get them off just a little bit. As long as you're in a good general vicinity, I'm happy with it. Square root of 45. Well, I don't know what the square root of 45 is, so I'm going to plug it into my calculator. 6.7. So 6.7 is bigger than 6, smaller than 7, someplace probably right about there. Next one, put a dot where the square root of 72 is. Okay, once again, I don't know what the square root of 72 is, so I'm going to go ahead and plug it into my calculator. 8.48, so that means it's bigger than 8, less than 9, and just about in the middle. Okay, the next one, square root of 20. I'm not even going to worry about it. Square root of 20 equals 4.47, so it's bigger than 4, less than 5, someplace in the middle. The last one, 10.51, if I rounded it, so I'm not really too worried about it. I know it's someplace between 10 and 11 and really close to the middle. So I'm just going to put it in towards the middle. The last question you're going to see, you're going to need to use a piece of paper in order to write these down because you're going to get numbers that are really close and and you'll want to remember to keep them in order. Okay, so let's start. It says order from the least with a 1 to the greatest of 5. So I've got 3 negative numbers, and actually pi minus 10 is going to be negative. We'll look at that one in just a minute. But I'm going to look at the 2 that I know, 2 negative 18s. Well, the bigger the number on negative, the smaller it is. So that means that this one is actually the smallest, and then this one is the next smallest. So now I've got to compare this one and this one. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say 3.14 because I'm okay with rounding it to that, minus 10 gives me 6.86. Oh, 6.86. So that means that this is the next one, and then this one is the next biggest, and that means in the very end that this is the biggest of them all. Once I'm finished and done, I'll go ahead and submit it. I can't submit it from here, but you guys can, to find out what your answers are and how good you are. But that's exactly what you're going to want to do.